What's up, guys? Yesterday I came in and I filmed a leg day. Didn't really get the footage that I wanted. My camera died about halfway through and I really didn't like the walkthrough on the squats. So I may or may not use some of that footage, but I'm back here today. I just finished up with a shoulder day. I want to go back through the squat really quickly. I'm gonna just use an Olympic bar. I snagged an Olympic bar from the weight room. Shout out to the YMCA for being the coolest gym to shoot at. I'm going to go through the squat and I'm gonna have you watch me hit a squat, and I want you to pick out things that you may think that I'm doing differently than you. And then I'm gonna go back through it again and I'm going to walk you through it and show you exactly what I'm doing step by step. But first I want you to just watch through me hitting a squat with no weight on the bar and see how similar or different it is from the way you are hitting squats. All right, you've seen the squat performed a couple times. Now we'll go through it step by step. First, you'll see that my feet are just over shoulder width apart, firmly planted on the ground. My hands are pressing that bar into my traps. Before I do anything, my core is slightly engaged, my glutes are engaged, and my quads are engaged. My first step is to take a nice deep breath, and now my core is fully tightened up and we're ready to drop into the squat. We'll pause at the bottom here real quick and we'll look at my depth. Usually I'm just below 90 degrees and that bar should be right over top your shoelaces. And then on the way out of the squat, you'll see that the bar travels in a nice straight line back up to where we started. All right, so once the form on our squat is perfect, I like to mess around with a lot of different variations in the squat rack. What I'm doing here is called a pinch squat. So I have 225 on the bar and I'm just slowly lowering that down onto the safety rack. And then I will sneak around behind it and reload, and I will blast up out of the hole with absolutely no momentum. This is a really nice way to train for depth in your squats. I'll usually hit about 5 or 6 reps like this. Okay, what I'm doing here is loading 10 to 15% more than my max, and I'm just trying to control the negative. I know I won't be able to get out of it, but this is a really nice way to train for a progressive overload. All right, this is a nice exercise to isolate the quads. I like to just hold a 45-pound plate in my opposite hand there, and then I set my bench up against the squat rack, and my hand that you can't see there is kind of holding onto the squat rack, taking a little pressure off of that knee. But I'll do usually 4 sets of 10 reps on each side here. When it comes to training quads, there's really nothing like a leg extension. I really love leg extensions. I like to go heavy on these. Sometimes I'll use them as a warm-up as well to really get everything fired up before I go into my squats. You'll see me touching what they call the teardrop, the front of the leg muscle there. I really like to get that isolated when I'm doing these, and I also try and keep my feet as loose as I can on these. The same thing goes for my hamstring extensions. I find that I can really start to put a lot of flexion into my ankles and my calves and my feet when I'm doing these motions, and it's important to stay relaxed in that lower part of your leg so that the hamstring or the quad does all of the work on a set like this. Usually I'll do 4 sets of 10 to 12 on these guys, pretty heavy. The idea in making these videos is to show the importance of your compound lift and employing your compound lift in your workouts. I recently have just been struggling thinking about what kind of split I want to be doing, because I always am concerned about holding my mass and gaining weight and just getting bigger. I still am. And so if you're in that boat, this is the kind of workout you need to be doing. I have made more progress with gaining weight and strength and overall size by focusing on my compound lifts and actually kind of leaning into a powerlifting split than I ever have doing a bro split. Don't get me wrong, there have been periods in my life where I've been incredibly in shape, i.e. very low body fat percentage. You know, I look fit. But there is a difference between looking fit and being fit, and ask anybody who's ever competed on stage in bodybuilding how fit they feel when they're on stage. It's different to be bigger and have a little bit higher body fat percentage, but be stronger. If you're curious about what it's gonna take to put on some mass, or you're just trying to gain some overall size, it is imperative that you are making your compound lifts the center of your life. You need to be focusing on things like central nervous system fatigue, giving yourself enough time to recover, hitting maxes, periodically, staying within 90% of your 1 rep max, like things like that are going to be very, very helpful for you to put on size. I think there's something to be said for a bro split and major hypertrophy and training for hypertrophy and training for a particular muscle. You know, Jay Cutler used to always talk about how he could bench press a ton of weight, and then, you know, as he got older, he started focusing more on his hypertrophy and lowering the weight. And there's a lot of muscle groups that works for. Biceps are a great example. Don't forget that lifting heavy with your compound lifts is going to be what pushes your metabolism, allows you to eat more, and allows you to gain more mass. That's why I'm making these videos. So hopefully this gives you a good idea of what those should look like. Last week I did a video on back day. I'm also going to link the playlist at the end of this video because this is going to be a 3-part series. I did back day last week, legs is this week, and next week I will do chest. I appreciate all of you who made requests on me making workout videos. It's been really fun doing this. If you have any other questions, please hop down into the comments and ask away. I would love to answer your questions. If this kind of content is helpful to you, consider subscribing. If you are a skinny guy that has trouble putting on mass, that is my goal, is to help you figure out how I did it. If you need more tips, feel free to hit me up. My Instagram handle is the same as my YouTube, Mike McCord Fit. You can hit me up in my DMs on my Instagram as well if you have any questions. Thanks as always, and I will see you again next Friday for chest day.